The Street Traffic and Refuse Committee will be called to order. Madam Clerk, will please call the roll.
Alderman Conway,
Present.
Alderman Moore, Alderwoman Murphy. Here. Alderman Kotar, Alderwoman Boyd,
Here.
Alderman Bosley,
Here.
Alderwoman Martin, Chairman Boyd.
Present.
5 present, you have a quorum.
Okay, first thing we're gonna do is have a presentation by Kent Flake, Director of Streets. Kent, you wanna go ahead and take a seat there?
Sorry, Ken.
I had introduced a board bill that had to do with how contractors restore sidewalks. And I held that board bill. Kent promised us that he would just redo the permitting process and we wouldn't have to do a board bill, which is probably a more efficient way. And so here we are today. So Kent, give us an update on what you changed in accordance to what we were asking for.
Yep, if you, I think most of you have in this handout that says excavation permit conditions. A lot of things on here we did update that were unrelated to the proposed board bill. But the proposed board bill is actually in here. If you go down to where all the bullets are, where it says restoration to the public right of way, it's actually number 2. There isn't a number 2, but it's the second bullet. Concrete streets, alleys, the majority of the slab is to be removed. The entirety of the slab shall be removed and restored. If you scoot down, I think it's number 6. It says sidewalk driveway reconstruction shall consist of removal and restoration of entire slabs, joint to joint. Removal of partial slabs is prohibited. In the one right after that, contractor shall make every attempt to match the new concrete with adjacent slabs. If you have any questions or issues, contact the inspector for clarifications. Because I'm sure we're gonna run into situations where the slab over here is white, what we call PCC concrete. Over here is something else. And this slab in the middle, what do I do with it? Do I match the white or do I match the exposed aggregate? Because we have that all over the place. And in general, we're probably gonna get with exposed 99.9% of the time. So that should be everything that really covers the proposed board bill. We did make some other small fixes, or several small fixes, but a couple of them that actually make, that have to do with a lot of you guys, is a lot of the contractors have never, some contractors saw cut their excavations, so they end up being the shape of a table, or a square or rectangle. Other guys just start punching holes in the ground, and you have some odd shaped garbage, essentially, at the end of it, so I cleaned that up. Another big one was, previously you could have an excavation in a drive lane, and as long as you put barricades and a piece of plywood over the top of it, we kind of left that. This actually says that anytime you have an excavation, any drive lane, it must be covered at the end of the workday with a steel plate, which makes a lot more sense and keeps me out of court that way.
Now, where does it say that at?
That's actually in the, almost all the way on the bottom in all the giant capital letters. It's second line.
Yeah.
Drive lanes must be steel plated and secured with spikes and asphalt perimeter at the end of each workday.
Okay. All right, well, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, we'll go around the table and make sure we have some clarity. I know there's a few things I want to ask you about. So we'll start with Alderman Conway.
And no question.
Okay, Alderwoman Murphy.
No, I think that covers everything very well, thank you.
Okay, Alderwoman Boyd.
My question is this with our departments and private contractors also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So if they do any kind of work where they dig up the street or whatever, they have to put a steel plate there?
Yeah. This should cover everybody. There are a few circumstances it's not gonna work.
Okay.
MSD is probably the biggest culprit. Sometimes they have some really big holes. And about the widest you can buy or get a plate is 12 to 16 feet. And even a 16-foot plate will only cover a 10 to 12 foot hole
Okay.
without bouncing around and just being a disaster. So typically MSD on those puts either Jersey barriers or the water-filled barriers around them and completely shut it down. This wasn't really, there's certain circumstances that some of this stuff doesn't work for them.
Exception, okay.
But in general, yes, it will be for everyone.
Cause I do see some, and the water department is one, they'll put rocks down.
Mhm.
And then, that's my question, they wouldn't have to have it covered because of the rocks that they fill there.
Yeah, I'm confused. You're talking about after they've excavated, they put rock? Yeah, that's correct, because
Okay.
that's what we call backfill.
Okay,
Once they get done with the excavation, typically we backfill with 1 inch, either clean or minus rock. And then, about 3 and 4 state that they are to bring it up to either grade or close to grade with concrete, the
okay,
last 8 to 10 inches. And then we'll, depending on the size of the cut and where it's at, we'll put our 2 inches of asphalt over the top of it.
okay. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, Alderman Bosley.
No questions, just thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my question is, do you think, okay, I'm gonna go to what would be number 7, bullet comment under restoration of public right of way. So the contractor shall make every attempt to match the new concrete with adjacent slabs. Do you think that we need to spell it out for them? For example, exposed, comma, swirls, comma, broom, et cetera, et cetera? Because I just find that some contractors do whatever they can to try to act like they just didn't know.
Yeah, we actually debated that kind of in my office. I don't think we need to. I actually asked a half dozen contractors. Had Google Earth pulled up, said, hey, if you see this, what kind of concrete are you pouring there? If you see this, what kind of concrete are you pouring there? And they actually tested pretty well, so.
Okay, good. Let's see. You know, there's still, in my neighborhood, in the streets, these little circles.
Yeah.
Or look like, I know Laclede Gas did it, like it popped a tube, took some out and whatever, and it's still not covered. Do I just call and have it paved over, or?
Yeah, that's probably the easiest, is just let me know where they're at, and we'll patch them in. What those are is, they do those test holes, so they can locate where the water lines are,
Mhm.
sewer lines, that kind of stuff. Because when they're doing the horizontal boring, they get the machine and they shove a pipe directly underneath the street.
Mhm.
They got a pothole in each one of those locations, so they can figure out how deep the water line is so they don't hit it. So that's what those are. So yeah, those should be turned in the same way anything else is. They do forget about doing it on those a lot. So yeah, if you can give me a location on those, we'll get those taken care of.
Let me ask you this. When some years ago, we did all the sidewalks up in our MLK, Laclede Gas came back and they did that in the sidewalks.
Mhm.
So this new process will require them to do the whole slab, not just leave that little circle hole.
That is correct.
Okay, I wanna make sure we cover that, okay. The other thing is demolition. Talk me through the process when a demolition contractor has the utility cut, the gas and the water tap destroyed, and they have this little square. And tell me about how does that get filled and how does it get covered? What's that process?
It's probably not a very good process. We typically get those at the end or upon completion. The problem with that is we don't get those before they start demoing. And we've kind of argued that a little bit, and then I got them beforehand. So the deal is I need to see the condition prior to the demolition. I can't hold a demo contractor very liable if I don't know what he did. Because some of these, there's not even any sidewalk left by the time they're demoing the property.
Right.
And I can look at it and go, yeah, this is probably pretty fresh, but I don't really know. So, demo contractor is responsible, with their demo permit through building, I think, to maintain the sidewalk area, to maintain the curb, to maintain the street, to maintain the condition of the alleyway. If they do any damage to it, they are supposed to be responsible for it. I don't think between streets and or building, that those are followed through very often. And a lot of that on my end is because I don't usually see the permits till after the fact. And it's hard for me to blame you, I don't know what you
Well,
did.
let me ask you this, Ken. So can you not issue a permit to do that until they have actually gotten a demolition permit? So that you'll know you have notice?
We don't do any permits on the demo site.
I know, but if they come in, they want to do a tap destroy because it's a demolition, then if you saw the demolition permit, you would know if someone needs to go out there, take photos or whatever, and maintain the integrity of the sidewalk and the curb.
Yeah, I guess, we should be seeing them at that point, yes. Yeah, if they're doing a water tap, gas tap, or destroying, yeah, we would be seeing permits on those.
Yeah, 'cause
So,
there's a clue that they're probably gonna do a demo if they're gonna do a tap destroy.
yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
So, yeah, we need to probably be more careful on watching those, especially with relations to demo.
Now, are they required to put a plate over that cut while they're waiting for asphalt? Because my challenge is, we've had 5891 MLK, and it hasn't been filled for a month. But the building's been gone for quite some time. So at night, and there's no barriers or anything, cars just, and you're talking about it's like 4 in Monroe. So are they supposed to put a plate over those?
Is that in the drive lane?
Well, technically, it would not be the drive lane, but you know, when there's no cars there, people use that curb lane to turn right.
Yeah, I mean, we can change that. I was just thinking drive lanes, personally.
Because
So-
here's the challenge, what they'll tell me is, the city, once they do the tap destroy, the city just comes around and fill up the hole with asphalt. But I say, well, who calls the city? Well, they know. And I'm like, no, I don't think so, so.
Yeah, we don't know until we do, I mean, our inspectors run through their permits typically once a week.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, each one of my inspectors has about 500 active permits at any one time. I have over 7 or 8 inspectors. So obviously, they're not gonna run through all 500 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So when we get by there, typically, yes, we do the asphalt ticket on those. They are supposed to call us and let us know that they are, they're essentially what we call for a backfill inspection.
Mhm.
So once they get their hole done, get whatever they're planning on doing, pipes connected, pipes disconnected, they are supposed to contact us at that point. Most people do, some people don't. If they contact us, as soon as we go over there, do the backfill inspection, we'll put together an asphalt ticket,
Gotcha.
assuming that they're gonna concrete tomorrow, and then we'll come in and patch it in. But most companies are pretty good about letting us know, some aren't.
Okay. Did you have another question, man? Okay, I'm gonna make one suggestion, not really trying to tell you how to do your paperwork business, but it would be easier if you use the alphabets and the numbers instead of those bullets. It would be
Yeah.
easier to point somebody, well, when they call you on the phone, A restoration, you know, number 3 or whatever.
Yep.
It would make it easier to kind of read.
Completely agree.
Alrighty, well, it looks good to me, Kent, so we can
Thank
go
you.
with this.
Thank you.
No problem.
Alrighty. So, the board bill we were here first today is board bill number 121, sponsored by Alderwoman Green.
Okay.
Woman Green. Alderwoman Green, would you just take the seat up there?
Yes. Board Bill 121 is pretty simple. It's a 4-way stop sign. We did a traffic study in the 15th Ward, and one of the corridors we looked at was the Morgan Ford corridor, Morgan Ford Business District. A number of years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of foot traffic there. There wasn't a whole lot of businesses, but now we're starting to see a real vibrant business district pop up. And, but what we noticed is every intersection within the business district has a stop sign except for this intersection. And so the recommendation of that traffic study was to add a stop sign here so that cars are accustomed to stopping at every intersection within the business district, rather than having to skip over one, which causes kind of a hazard to people trying to cross the street.
Okay, Alderman Conway,
Nothing.
Alderwoman Murphy,
It's fine.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Nothing.
Alderman Bosley.
Was it in your ward?
I mean, it's the border, it's 15 and 10, so Volmer's on board with it, so.
There it is.
Alrighty, I have no questions. I'll entertain a motion to pass Board Bill 121 out of committee with a
Second.
due pass recommendation.
So moved.
It's been
Second.
moved and second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Conway,
Aye.
Alderman Moore, Alderwoman Murphy,
Aye.
Alderman Kotar, Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Bosley,
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin, Chairman Boyd.
Aye.
5 aye votes do pass.
Okay, next Board Bill is Board Bill number 137, sponsored by Alderwoman Green.
137 is basically an amendment to our current residential disabled parking ordinance. Something that a constituent brought to my attention recently is that under our current ordinance, only if you're if a car is registered in your name, are you able to get a disabled parking spot. But a lot of people who are low income, in particular, or who maybe, in the case of my resident, lives with his parents, the car is registered to his parents, they're his caregiver, but he drives the car. He has a state handicap license plate associated with it, but because the car's not registered in his name, he's not allowed to get a handicap parking space in front of his house. And to me, I felt like that wasn't really acceptable. If the state's willing to, if your doctor and the state is willing to, give you a handicap placard to go on your car or a handicap license plate, that regardless of whether the car is registered to you or not, you should be able to get that parking space in front of your house.
Okay. Alderman Murphy,
Seems fair. Yeah.
Alderman Boyd.
It seems crazy, because if they have a handicap plate, so who has the handicap plate? He does?
He does, but
So is he's listed as a resident of that house?
but the car is registered to his parents. And so because the car's registered to his parents and not registered to him, he can't apply to get a handicap designation in front of his house.
So okay, I'm confused, because I thought if they gave him a plate, that meant Missouri said that he was handicapped.
Yes,
And so it didn't make a difference whose name it was, it made a difference of who was issued that plate, am I correct?
under state law, yes. So this
Okay.
is a difference with our ordinance, because our ordinance, and if you look on page 2, which gives kind of the update, it updates it so that you can, if you can apply for a residential disabled parking space permit if if you drive the car at least 50% of the time and possess the placard that was given to you, by the state.
Okay.
So, because right now, it's just set up that even though he has that placard, because the car's not registered in his name, he's not allowed to apply for the parking
Okay,
space.
all right, okay, thank you.
Alderman Bosley.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. No question.
Okay. Now, I'm a little confused. How does the state how does the state register a plate to a car owned by somebody else?
They get the documentation, and so his parents were able to go to the DMV and say, our son is disabled, he drives this vehicle, and they were able to get the placard that was given to it. But when he went to then apply to the city said, well, the car needs to be registered in your name. It doesn't matter that you have the state placard.
See, that makes sense.
And his parents, I mean, they paid the car, they paid the insurance on it, and they didn't really want to give him the car.
let me ask you this, why couldn't they just do this administratively? It just seems like a common sense thing. Why couldn't they just,
When I
There are
reached,
rules.
yeah, when I reached out to, the Office of Disability, they agreed that this is an update that needed to happen, but said that because we already have an ordinance that,
Okay.
that lays out the process, that we would have to amend that ordinance.
okay. All righty, I'll entertain a motion to pass Board Bill 137 out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any objection to previous roll?
No.
Hearing no objection, Board Bill 137 comes out of committee with due pass recommendation. The next board bill up is Board Bill 139, sponsored by Alderman Moore. He is not feeling well today. He asked me to talk about his bill form. It's a simple street naming, it's an honorary street naming on behalf of Ms. Norma Leggette. It will begin at the intersection of Bishop P.L. Scott Avenue and Garfield Street and run southeast on Garfield Street to North Vandeventer. Norma Leggette was a longtime committee woman of the fourth ward. You may remember we passed a resolution in honor of her, I think a couple of weeks or so ago. She was truly a pillar in the community, hard work in the fourth ward, you know, certainly deserving of an honor like this. And I'll take any questions, starting with Alderman Murphy.
No, it's fine with me.
Okay, Alderwoman Boyd,
No.
Alderman Bosley.
No questions.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to pass Board Bill 139 out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any objection to previous roll? Hearing none, Board Bill 139 comes out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Okay, that is the end of the board bills. Now, you know, Alderman Vaccaro has the board bill dealing with the carriage rides,
Right.
and I'm trying to contact a veterinarian with, I think it's Columbia, Mizzou, and see if she'd be willing to come and testify before the committee so that we can kind of wrap up that particular situation. It's a situation we need to have some kind of fix to right now, because right now we can't have people just doing what they want to do on the streets unregulated. So hopefully maybe next week or the week after, we'll be bringing that board bill back.
So we're gonna still meet with, MTC,
Mhm.
okay.
All the major stakeholders,
Okay.
and hear everybody out and make a decision on which way we want to go with that.
Okay.
Okay, I will officially call the street committee adjourned.
Thank you.